The jungle was a graveyard of echoes. Rain poured through the broken canopy, tapping against helmets and the cold metal of rifles left behind. The air was thick with smoke, rot, and the scent of something far worse fear. The mission had gone to hell hours ago. Communications were dead. Their commander, Colonel Reeves, had been captured by insurgents near the border. Command had called it a total loss. Extraction aborted. They'd said, "He's gone." But one person didn't listen. Lieutenant Mara Holt. She stood alone under the dripping trees. Mud caked up her boots. Her heartbeat a dull thunder in her chest. Her squad was gone, ordered back to base, but she stayed behind. Because Reeves wasn't just her commander. He was the man who had pulled her out of fire 3 years ago in Mosul, when everyone else had written her off as a casualty. He had taught her one thing: never abandon your own. Now she was living that truth. Mara had no backup, no satellite feed, just a suppressed rifle, a half-charged radio, and the ghost of her training whispering through her thoughts. She could still see the flare from the enemy camp 2 miles ahead, an orange wound burning in the night. That's where they were holding him, and if the intel was right, the insurgents weren't planning a ransom. They were planning a massacre. She checked her watch. The strike was scheduled for dawn. That gave her less than 4 hours. 4 hours to save her commander. 4 hours to stop 100 innocents from being slaughtered. She exhaled slowly, pressed 2 fingers to the muddy ground, and began to move. The path wound like a scar through the jungle. Every step was a test of silence. She moved with the patience of a predator, counting breaths, avoiding puddles that could betray her. A glint of wire caught her eye, a trip mine. She cut it clean with a rusted blade, barely a sound. Her skin was slick with rain and sweat. Her mind focused on one truth: fear was a luxury. At the ridge, she lay flat and lifted her binoculars. Below, a valley glowed with lantern light. Trucks. Crates, dozens of armed men. And in the center, tied to a wooden post, Colonel Reeves beaten, his uniform torn, head slumped forward. They were broadcasting his capture, a warning to anyone who dared cross their lines. She could see one of the insurgent leaders barking orders, his voice echoing over a loudspeaker. At sunrise, the village burns. Mara's stomach turned. She'd seen that look before. The false power of men who had never faced true courage. She scanned for weaknesses: 2 guard towers, 3 patrols, 1 mortar set up near the trucks, a generator powering floodlights. Her brain worked faster than her heartbeat. She couldn't take them all head on, but she could make them think they were surrounded. She reached into her pack, pulling out 2 flashbangs, 3 smoke grenades, and a compact satchel charge. The plan wasn't perfect, but perfection didn't win wars. Guts did. The first explosion came from the north. A tower vanished in a burst of light and metal. Panic followed. Men shouted, scrambling for cover. Before they could regroup, smoke rolled in from the opposite side of the camp. Mara moved like a shadow, weaving between chaos and confusion. She shot 2 sentries before they even realized where the shots came from. Someone screamed, "We're under attack, American airstrike." She smiled faintly. Fear was doing her work for her. By the time she reached the post, Reeves had lifted his head. Blood streaked his temple, one eye swollen shut, but when he saw her, his expression froze in disbelief. "Mara, what the hell are you doing here?" His voice was hoarse, half choked. She cut his bonds, pulling him upright. "Finishing what you taught me, sir." He tried to stand, but his leg buckled. "You shouldn't have come, neither should have you," she whispered, looping his arm over her shoulder. "Now move." Bullets tore through the smoke behind them. She dragged him behind a truck, returning fire. "Base isn't sending anyone," he rasped. "I know. "So you came alone?" She didn't answer. Her silence said everything. The insurgent leader saw them through the fog, his face twisting with rage. "Get them alive!" He shouted. "Bring me the woman." Mara grabbed the satchel charge, primed it, and tossed it under the nearest fuel truck. The explosion tore through the camp like a hurricane. Men dove for cover. The mortar crew never got a second chance. She pushed Reeves toward the tree line. "Go, I'll cover." He shook his head. "You'll never outrun them." Wasn't planning to. Before he could stop her, she sprinted into the open, drawing the enemy fire away from him. Rounds snapped through the air, slicing the rain around her. She rolled behind a crate, reloaded, fired, moved again. Every motion was instinct. Every heartbeat another second stolen from death. Reeves, crawling toward the jungle, looked back once. What he saw burned into him forever. His lieutenant standing alone against a wall of flame, outnumbered 20-1, but not yielding an inch. When her last magazine ran dry, Mara reached for her knife. A soldier charged her, rifle raised. She sidestepped, blade flashing once. Another came from behind. She spun, struck, moved on. Then she saw the leader again, wounded, limping toward her with a pistol. "You think you can stop war," he spat. "No," she said quietly, "but I can stop you." He fired. She dropped to one knee, the shot grazing her shoulder. Pain flared white. Hot, but she didn't hesitate. One throw. Knife spinning through the smoke found its mark. He fell, and with him the massacre died too. By dawn, the jungle was silent again. Reeves lay by the riverbank, half conscious, when footsteps approached. Mara appeared through the mist, her arm bleeding, face streaked with mud. But alive. She dropped beside him, panting, blood mixing with rainwater. "You disobeyed a direct order," he murmured. She smiled weakly. "You taught me to." He stared at her for a long time, then reached for her hand. "You saved them all." She didn't answer, just looked out at the sunrise breaking through the trees. The light cut across the valley, revealing the destroyed camp, the smoldering wrecks, and in the distance the quiet village that would have burned. Later, when command found them, Reeves told the truth. He told them how one soldier went alone, how she crossed the jungle without orders, without hope of survival, just to save one man and 100 strangers. They said it was impossible, that no one could have done what she did. But Reeves just smiled and said, "Then you never met Lieutenant Holt." Weeks later, a new inscription appeared on the wall at headquarters. It wasn't a medal or a plaque or a citation. Just a phrase Reeves had written himself. "Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the refusal to let fear decide who lives." And somewhere deep in the field, under the same sky that had nearly killed her, Mara Holt watched another dawn break, alive, unbroken, and ready for whatever came next. Because some wars aren't fought for glory, they're fought for the promise that no one gets left behind.